Hello and welcome. Welcome everybody to the Black Belt Bot Show today. My name is RJ Redden, and if you don't know me, I am here it is. Entrepreneurs hire me to engage their people. Okay? Because most feel like they're shouting into a black hole or they're a carbon copy of everybody else. And most people, most entrepreneurs have a heck of a time getting any traction online. So, I create epic engagement experiences that get people to click that button, connect with you, and convert like crazy. So, there's what I do. And the Bot Signal is a show where we talk about all kinds of engagement marketing bots, interactive freebies, video. We got it all. We got it all. So, welcome to the show today. Glad to talk to you. And yesterday, we talked a lot about calculators, how you can use a calculator as an interactive freebie. And just to review, if you missed that a little bit, but do go back and watch it because it's a cool show. The interactive freebie is worth more, it engages more, it tells you more about that human. It is 1,000 times better than that top 10 PDF. Now, the top 10 PDF, it's the list that everyone creates, right? It's the top 10 reasons why you should have a chatbot. I've got that PDF. I produced it. It's a lot, it's good information, but those are passive freebies. Okay. Because it's just a way for people to kind of scan a sheet of paper and go, okay, there might be some valuable ideas on that. But it's not necessarily something that somebody's going to use and remember. We talk a lot on this show about how do you stand out in a sea of sameness out there? How do you stand out? There's a lot of people, some of them have big crowds. How are people like us going to compete there? Well, interactive freebies is absolutely your answer. Get something that gets someone to invest. Now, bots are so good for this. Get them involved in a conversation right away. But you can also use some different things and what I call interactive freebies. Now, something that takes a little time to do, something that engages your viewer in making choices, and something that tells you a little bit about that viewer besides just email address. Isn't that like you don't ask somebody that at a party. You don't walk up and go, "Hey, what's your email address?" I mean, you just, to a stranger anyway. You don't do that because that would be weird. But that seems to be the only thing that people care about knowing about you online some days, isn't it? Let's change that. Let's shift that up, my grasshoppers. It is time. So, interactive freebies tell you a little bit about that person besides just the email address, what they might value, likes, dislikes, how they're doing in their business. There's a ton of things. There's a ton of things there that can help you make a valuable decision to either proceed with that person or let them have a nice PDF and as a parting gift, or whether you can refer that person to a trusted JV partner of yours, joint venture partner. So yesterday it was calculators like, and you can find 1,000 of these on the internet. I have a lots of lists and content. I also have a free call. This is the freebie I want to get people to use. Excellent. Oh, absolutely. Um, Very good. Well, I'm glad that you've got some stuff in place. You know what? My favorite freebie is the phone call too, because that one will tell me even more about that person, help me have a sense of who they are, what they value, and in if I have a solution that they would benefit from, right? So the call is the coolest thing. Now, here's the kicker. When when a call is your main freebie, when you haven't met the person before, when it's cold traffic coming off of some social media post or a Facebook ad or something like that. The tough thing is that they're usually unqualified calls. Here's what I mean by that. Unless someone has spent some time wandering around my stuff, they might show up to a meeting not realizing that I wear a cape and goggles when I work. They might not know that this is kind of an irreverent personality. It's we're not super businesslike over here in the bot cave. How can we be? We're ducking bots the whole time. Anyway, I want someone to have a sense of my personality, and I also want to know a little bit about them. And I also don't want to get on the phone with a tire kicker. When people, that's the first thing they ask me, how much does it cost? I automatically see the hugest red flag ever because it's a tire kicking procedure. Long time ago, I used to work as a kitchen designer for Home Depot. Yep. I wore a bright orange apron. It complemented my complexion. Anyway, I was a kitchen designer down there. We had a Home Depot, which is, if you're not from the US, it's a big box store. It's a huge hardware store. And you can get your whole kitchen designed and installed and all of that. Well, we also had an almost identical store across the street, and it was called Lowe's. And that's basically Home Depot, but blue. Okay. There ain't a whole lot of difference. And although I think blue would have been a better color on me. So long story short, they're never short, are they? Long story short, what happened was I would get a whole lot of people bringing over a kitchen design from Lowe's, the competition across the street, and say, "Can you match this price?" And I would know right away, okay, this is not somebody that really wants to, sit and design something with you. This is somebody who cares about price first. And then I would point them to our price first products. I would say, "Hey, price first. This is what you want to go with. Gonna take a little elbow grease. Are you okay with that?" But in my business today, I know that I don't really work with those people, honestly. When I was sort of paid to in a professional capacity, paid by someone else, I kind of still had to work, try to get that business. But when people come to me with how much is it going to cost to, hey, you know what? I have no idea. It's the truth. I don't know what it's going to go. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen because I don't know what your stuff looks like. I don't know what I'm working with. I don't know what kind of personality you have. I don't know what message you have. I don't know if your message is clear. I have no idea what this is going to cost. So, trying to bring it in and make it a short story again. With offering a free phone call as as your main freebie, the tough thing about that is that you don't get an opportunity to sort out people. You don't have an opportunity to find out a little bit about them before the phone call. You don't have the opportunity for them to get used to your virtual personality, and so there's a lot of things there. So basically, you might be sitting through phone calls with unqualified people. You might be sitting through phone calls with people who are just complete tire kickers. You might be having a phone call with someone who has misunderstood what you do for a living. And, all of that is okay if you've got the extra time to have those phone calls, or if you need to practice those phone calls, it's totally fine. My suggestion is we get an interactive freebie in the middle. We get something that causes people to push buttons, find out a little bit about themselves, get more information, more knowledge. Um, though the phone call is directly after that. The phone call is, listen, let's talk, and let's talk right now. That, my friends, that is golden, because people have self-selected in, or they have self-selected out, and that is all okay. That is all okay. So let me catch up on the comments here. Podcast and social media. This is one of the holes I need to work on plugging. Lots of people. Hey, you are not alone. Um, Lowe's is way better. Lowe's is for real people. I love it. I love it. We've got a Lowe's fan, people. That is awesome stuff. Awesome sauce. I'm glad you like one better than the other. I personally will only do a Lowe's now, but I hardly ever leave the house. So I don't know if that's a big thing or not. Anyway, so interactive freebies. Talked about the calculator yesterday. That is where you have a very easily quantifiable thing that you want to talk about. So, for instance, um, there are things like Facebook ad calculators. How much do I need to spend to get this kind of a result? There are mortgage calculators. If I refinanced my home right now, what would I be looking at for a payment? There are a ton of diet calculators out there. Carb calculators. Built one of those. There are a ton of those out there. How many calories do I need to intake? All of that, all of that beauty, all of that interactive beauty. Okay. Today, though, because I got to thinking about it last night, and I started thinking about, okay, what about the businesses that have something that is difficult to quantify like that? In terms of money, in terms of time saved, in terms of calories counted, in terms of things like that. What if you have something that is less less quantifiable? What can you do there? So here is what I have done in the past, and also incidentally, a project I'm working on for an interactive freebie. And that is, what about creating a scorecard type of situation? Now, a scorecard is where, you can do this in any number of ways, but let me just describe what the simplest way is. Um, you give people a question or a statement, and then you say on the other side, evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being I'm awesome at this. And then you present them with several statements. They write their score down there. You add the score up and present to them, the results of that piece. Let me give you a real life example. Right now, I am building an engagement scorecard. Now, why am I doing this? Well, because I can, and because I've got some crazy tools that'll help me do amazing things. I'm building the engagement scorecard so that I can help people rate their marketing, because I've noticed that, I give 15, 20-minute talks all the time on the internet. I am constantly on some summit or another, and we have a real good time. And at the end of it, I tell people, this is your homework. You've got to go evaluate your engagement marketing, or evaluate your marketing. So open up your next email that's going to go out on your computer and evaluate how much engagement it has. So far, I've just been telling people that. And people have actually gone and done that and come back to me. But what if I made it just a little bit easier for everyone? So the engagement scorecard was born, and I'm accomplishing this one. There are other ways to do this, but I want to do something that is gamified, obviously. I want to do something fun. I want to do something where you can get prizes and rewards at the end, obviously. I want to make it the coolest thing possible, right? And so what I've got, the simplest way to do it is you've got a statement on the left, you have that person rate themselves on the right. So, some of the questions or statements that I'm going to have, I'm just reading off of my little notes here. Um, okay, how do you have how many questions do you have in your engagement marketing piece? How many times do you give people choices in your marketing piece? Does the marketing piece that you're evaluating right now have a chicken exit? Now, chicken exit to me is, does it have a place where people who are in a hurry can cut to the chase? Sometimes people don't want to have a whole conversation with you. Sometimes people just know they're ready. They want to move. I want to give those people an opportunity to cut to the chase, get the information that they need, and take an action. I don't want to put them through a whole scorecard if they don't want to rate themselves on every question. I want to give them an out. I want to give them hey, I'm just too busy to do this. Out. I want to do that. Um one one criteria of evaluation on my engagement scorecard: does your marketing let people know how far they are in the process? So if you're trying to evaluate a course of yours, does it have progress bars? Does it have a map? Do you regularly update people on how they're doing, where they're at? That's a huge thing. And, maybe if you are evaluating an email, that isn't a question that I would ask you. And by the way, the very first thing that these engagement scorecard will ask is, what type of marketing are you evaluating? You got a course, you got a challenge, you got an email, you got I didn't do social media posts because those just generally aren't interactive at all. Your basic interaction is like, comment, share, which I mean, the algorithms are so locked down that those things don't really too much matter. So I'm kind of considering that question. Do I add social media posts? But the very first thing in blah, engagement scorecard is, I'm going to have different questions for each type of marketing that you do, each type of marketing piece. So the video questions are going to be a little bit different than the email questions. They're going to be a little bit different than the course questions. So, uh, so, so keep that in mind as I'm reading these questions off. Is that some pieces, if they're going to automatically score a 0 every single time, like that one that I just read, which is let people know where they are in their progress, in an email, that just seems kind of not great. Um, so, so statement here, rating here. Have people self rate. Have people self rate. From those ratings on the back end, I can see where that person is. I can see, kind of, I can get a sense of who they are and what they want to do. That's coolest for me, but they're also learning stuff about themselves. And they're not learning in a normal way. They're not trying to memorize some top 10 list, which people don't ever hardly stop to memorize. They just pick up some ideas from those things. So, It's learning without overt, here, learn something. You know what I'm saying? It's an invitation to play. It's not a, here, memorize this sheet of paper. So, very good. One piece of information I want people to self-evaluate on is there um can you go back to the beginning of the interaction if you want to? Can you, in the middle of doing my scorecard, for instance, just go, you know what? I don't want to, I just want to go back to the beginning and start again and maybe choose a different piece of marketing. Can that is something about interactivity that is so super important. It's so super important because people are going to want to make that choice. Do you have that available for them? Um, let's see. Another one is let people know how far they have to go to reach the next goal. Again, really important for challenges, really important for courses, really important for some of those long form things. And you can evaluate on this scorecard. You can evaluate your chatbot. You can evaluate your email, your video, your whatever marketing pieces that you are doing. You can evaluate them and see, okay, where am I on this score? And then when you deliver the score, you can do other things such as reward them for whatever score they have, and give them some relevant type of PDF passive freebies that will help them maybe get to where they want to go. Or at that point, offer the phone call. Absolutely, why not? Because now they're qualified in, because now they're interested. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're cooking with gas, as my grandfather used to say. So, interactive freebies, my friends, I think it's the way to go. And scorecards can be made about anything. Yesterday, I was in a meeting, this class that I'm taking, and the presenter asked us to evaluate ourselves and give ourselves a score based on some certain criteria that he was having there. And it was amazing. It was very short. It was just three things he was having us evaluate ourselves on, and that was able to tell him some things about our marketing. And away we go. Away we go. It's time to stop all of the madness of let's just flip a fleet freebie out there. Most of those freebies go unread. Most of those PDFs go unread. They're gathering digital dust, people. A freebie is meant to give someone value. I would say, for me, this is just my opinion, that the more interaction, the more value. That's not what we're brought up in marketing with. We're brought up in marketing with just tell them everything. Just give them a bunch. Give them a bunch of information. Information is okay. Long time ago, when I was in grad school, I was in database class. Whew, not the easiest class for me. Ooh, there was a lot of math. There was way too much math. Anyway, database class. And one of the first days when the professor is introducing the topic, he's talking about the difference between data and information. This lesson has always stuck with me. There is a difference. And let me define both of those terms. Data is it's a number on a spreadsheet. It's how many times did this person click this button? 4. 4 is the data. Data is just data. It's just numbers, it's percentages, it's decimals, it's all of those things. That data is worthless without context. It's worthless. I wake up in the morning, I roll over to my wife and I say, 15. And she looks at me like I've grown a couple of extra heads. Why? Because I haven't told her the context of the information, that I have lost my own keys 15 times and I really need us to get a little place for me to hang them or put them or something because I keep losing my keys. You see what I'm saying? So, when you are talking to people, you need to give them information. When you're writing up these freebies, and you're spitting them back information, like say they gave themselves you add up the score of the scoreboard and the total ends up to be 52. What does that mean? What does that mean now? What does that mean for their next steps on the path? What does that mean for them? Because they're in this scorecard so that they can get something out of the end of it. That's why they're there. So be sure that when you're giving them the final data at the end, when you're adding up the score or averaging it or whatever you're going to do, because there's a billion ways to do a scorecard, that contextualize that. You contextualize that data, that you make that number mean something, and you have a future path for them to take. Okay. Future path could mean membership in your community. It could mean uh, uh, some PDF freebies. It could mean a meeting with you. It could mean all of those things. Present it in a way that makes it super clear what the next step is. Okay. Do this for me. Don't overwhelm people with options. Make sure that it's super clear what the next step is. And if you've qualified them into your circle, make that next step include some contact with you, whatever your form of contact is. Liesel's here. Such a good idea. As usual, greetings from a busy bumblebee in Sweden. Hello, Bumblebee. It's lovely to hear from you today. I am so glad you're here. The interactive freebie is like you fixing somewhere to hang the keys. It is. It's solving a problem. Once again, another RJ story a long time ago in a land far away or just up the street. My senior final thesis project that tied together 2 degrees, by the way. That thing was nuts. I needed to work with 30 businesses or nonprofits in the Omaha and Council Bluffs area, which is where I'm from. And I needed to find them. I needed to, talk to them. I needed to do a bunch of stuff, pre-work or whatever. But in that first meeting, I always had a goal. The first time you see me face to face, and this was just back when I was doing regular IT help desk type stuff for people. Okay. I met a lady, Nonprofit Association of the Midlands, I think. And I met a lady, we were talking there on our first meeting. And my goal was always make sure she leaves with something that helps her life. I can always find a tool. It's like a huge little game in my head where I can, I have all these tools like kind of at the ready. And that day I said, she was talking about the phone and how so many robocalls and, all of these things and getting back to people. And gosh, it just was a freaking mess for her. And at the time, I had just gotten hold of Google Voice, which still exists, by the way. Google hasn't killed it off yet. Google Voice is something where you can, set up your voicemail and then you can get it texted to you what that person said to leave a message. It's so much faster than going back and listening to a message. The message gets transcribed, sent to you in a text, sent to you in an email, whatever it is. And so I told her about that because I wanted her to leave with something that would just be a freaking life changer, even if it's only, a little one. So on that meeting, even before that meeting, you're going to want to give them value. You're going to want to contextualize that in actual good information. And then, for me, I make sure that that's my goal of whatever 15-minute, 30-minute session you're setting up. How can I help this person leave with a tool that's going to just light their life up? So my friends, that's what I got going today. I got this engagement scorecard. I got a plan of how to build it. I am right now trying to decide, build it in a bot or build it in something else that is interactive, cool, and fun. Because it's all about engagement, or do the professional crazy thing, do A/B testing, and have half the time it'll point to the bot, half the time it'll point to the interactive scorecard, that's just a little bit different, and see which one gets a better response. So many things going on here in the bot cave. One of the things we got going on, it's up in the comments. It's pretty cool and crazy. You know it. November 12th, we're doing Skyrocket Your Engagement again. Lisa, just in case you would like, you can come back and do it again if you want. Let's see. Oh, Teresa, you say you made that mistake. You gave too many options at once. Gosh, I've done this. I've done this. Cognitive load. It's a concept in user experience, which is one of the things that I study. And it is that thing that says, if you give people too much weight there, too many options to consider, they're just gonna bug out. And I make this mistake all the time, Teresa. You just need to know you're not alone. I make this mistake all the time. And, most recently, I made it about a month ago. I sent out a note after a thing and I said, hey, 3 options. No. Here's your next step on the path. Do you want to go with me? Great. Click this button. You can give them further options within when they click that button to start interacting with you again. You can give them further options there. You can give them, but just be careful, one at a time. Just pretend that every single person that you ever talk to is going to be able to hold one idea at once. Uh, you know, maybe two. If you do that, then you will be okay. That's a good guideline to have. Stalled my engagement with people I need to rebuild. Don't we all? Aren't we all in that process constantly? If you're in the process of rebuilding, if you're in the process of thinking you might want to try some engagement marketing, you might want to try some bots, some interactive marketing, some different things, then I suggest Skyrocket Your Engagement. It's going to be November 12th. It's going to start at 11 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time. It's going to go till about 7. It's going to be packed. It's going to be packed because we are going to do stuff. We are going to try stuff. We are going to walk through some experiences together. And I'm going to show you just exactly how you can go from the traditional form of marketing, which really doesn't involve people at all until they hit a point of sale, which is why the funnel is so small at the bottom. And we're going to take people to a point where they're doing engagement marketing that involves people, that involves you, and that qualifies your clients before they come sit in your chair. We're going to talk about all that stuff. It's free, by the way. It's a free event. The link to sign up is in the description. So see that description if you want the link. And I just invite everybody listening, I invite everybody watching to come and get involved. Unless you put your clients through a full cycle of engagement, you're not keeping them. They're bored. They're leaving because they're bored. They're leaving because traditional marketing is very alienating. It's not you. It's traditional marketing, baby. So buck the system. Come join me. Also, there's also a link to a giveaway up there. There's a couple of VIP tickets. VIP tickets, it allows you to attend a special meeting I hold the night before, which will, bring some of us together and networking and getting some of your questions answered right away. So, darlings, that's all I have for you today. It has been a pleasure being your engagement ninja today. A real pleasure. I hope you come back tomorrow where we're going to talk about more engagement topics still. And my friend, that's all I've got. We will see you in a bot.